Hey guys, it's Michael Furlong from Roll Maximiser here, and I have the pleasure. This is the first time I've really interviewed a husband and wife team, so I've got the pleasure of meeting. Mark, you're going to sit down below at the moment because on the camera you're below. I'm meeting the lovely Michelle after many years. Michelle Errichiello and Mark Errichiello. Make sure that I get that correct, from Master Advocates. Welcome. How are you?
Yeah, we're going good. Going good today.
Thanks for having us.
Now, in Victoria at the moment, we're just sort of coming out the end of the lockdown. A lot of agencies are really struggle with, this is a question that I didn't give you beforehand, but a lot of agencies that are really struggle with working from home. I didn't want to prepare you on this one. How are you guys going? You're working from home and you're actually married. How does that work?
I'll be smart and let Michelle answer first.
Very diplomatic. I can see the way this is going to go.
Look, it wasn't easy during, I think the hardest period was the homeschooling.
Okay.
So we kind of said, all right, Mark, you're focusing on the business.
Yes.
And I need to focus on the girls and get their homeschooling done. And to my surprise, you know, like our youngest does childcare and kinder. And I was getting emails, especially once that stage 4 hit and childcare and kinder were closed. I was getting emails from them that I needed to do some schoolwork with her. So that was something that I wasn't prepared for. I thought our primary school age daughter, I knew I had to homeschool her. But then when I had to homeschool the 4-year-old from, you know, kinder work and childcare work, that was another, you know, thing that was thrown at me that I wasn't expecting. And that's when I said, you know what, I need to kind of take a step back. Mark, you're running the business and I need to just focus on the household. Obviously, you know, there's times when the girls went to bed or lunchtime or whatever that I would jump on my emails and action anything that needed to be actioned. But yeah, predominantly that was Mark's space.
So a couple of months of homeschooling. So tell me, you got 2 girls, 2 little ones? They're little.
Yeah, so a 4 and a 7-year-old.
Still cute stage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're always going to be cute, but you know, I don't know about you, Mark, but I've got a daughter as well, and you have a special affection for your daughter, whereas your son, I've got a son, and it's like a bit more rugged, but the daughter, you want to protect them. Is that the way you are? You got 2 of them. Yeah,
Michelle says I'm too soft. I treat them both like little princesses too much, so I've had to be a bit more assertive with discipline, but definitely wanting to protect them, that feeling, being a bit softer. But I think, and you know, through the pandemic, even just being at home with them and a bit more quality time, which I never really had before, because you're always working hours. You know, they're asleep most of the time when I came home before. So that was great. That was, you know, bonding a lot more. That was a benefit. We got through it, which is a good thing.
Mate, never apologise for treating your daughters like princesses. They are. Never apologise for that. Now, tell me a little bit about Master Advocates, because I've known of you both for many years. Mark, I think we were reminiscing. It's probably somewhere between 10, 15 and plus years that we've, and this is the thing which I like about our industry. When you can connect with good people, doesn't matter where they are, you still gravitate to them. So we have had a relationship, you and I, about 3, 4, 5 different times along those years. And then we've continually connected, and we've just recently connected back again. So tell me a little bit about I know Master Advocates has been going for a long time, but it's now both of you in it full time, and this is your primary focus. Tell me a little bit about Master Advocates. What is it that you do and why?
Yeah, Michelle, did you want to go first, or you want me to answer?
Oh, you go for it.
Okay. Yeah, no, well, look, yes, and I know it has been a long time, and we value those long-term relationships with people like yourself, Michael, that you've come in and out of the industry in different ways, and sort of sounding boards and appreciation of different ways to practice. But yeah, predominantly Michelle and I both met working in a franchise that my father started in Ascot Vale, a Rain and Horn franchise. You know, around year 2000, we joined the business.
So Mark, you're second generation real estate.
Second now, yeah, and my brother George as well. So George and his business partner Pat still operate that franchise, and Dad's 76 yesterday and still working there. So Michelle and I, met there for a passion of the business. And
it's Italian background.
Italian, yeah. So Italian, southern.
Italian or Italian Maltese? It's just Italian.
No, just Italian, yeah. So I'm, all from southern Italy. The family's all from Calabria, Napoli heritage, and Michelle's actually German Polish. So it's a big mix. Big mix in our house. So
the reason why I say that is, Europeans, particularly older Europeans, 76, he would still come to work every day, still think he's the king of the castle. Yeah. And, it's my way or the highway. What I did in 1970 is still true today. It's a long time ago, but 76, what a trooper.
He is, yeah. And you know what, Dad evolved, like from what I saw growing up as a kid in the 80s and 90s, what real estate officers were like. They were smoking cigars, drinking whiskey and cigarettes in the office, and it was a much different playing field. And he's managed to, I think real estate's an area that, it's not a backbreaking job. You just get better. The more deals, the longer you're in the game, the more relationships you build. So he's managed to deal with people, their kids, their grandkids. So it's, long term, you learn from them. And that's, I guess, when Michelle and I were quite young, we met working in that sort of traditional sense in the Rain and Horn franchise. And we were 19 and 20. It was really around the time that Michelle had a tragic accident in 2007 that we started to really think about perspective and life. And if we're going to be doing something, for a career, the next 50 years, say we're in our early 20s, we have to be passionate and love what we do every day, and what could we do together. And eventually we started Master Advocates. It took 7 years to make the plunge, but we went and incorporated the business in 2014. And then
so that's 6 years the business has been operating as Master Advocates, as the license.
Yes,
yep.
Yeah, and that's purely Michelle and I, and we've got a research partner that we work very closely with, and that's buyers advocacy, vendor advocacy, and property management. But
okay, so good, Mark. Thank you for that, because I was going to ask. So maybe if you can, and Michelle, I'm not skipping over the accident. We'll come back to that. But it's so I wanted to get from you maybe the difference between buyer's advocate, vendor's advocate, which is relatively new,
yes.
Vendor's advocate, and sales agent. For those that are watching this that really don't understand the differences, firstly, are all of them real estate agents? Obviously, sales are. So you're a real estate agent, licensed?
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
So licensed estate agents. There's still people emerging into the industry that probably some have operated without a license or without experience and obtained a license. But yes, majority, if you're in the right associations and independent buyers advocacy, and that was one of the reasons why we had to. It wasn't only up until March this year we completely separated from any of the sales process and the businesses we're involved in, like with Rain and Horn and the family, is because buyers advocacy should be independent. You get paid by the client to search in their best interest, whether it's to occupy or invest. And the vendors advocacy side was more, it became a subsequent need or value service for clients based on my sales background and auctioneering. When clients needed to sometimes sell something prior to buying, before we could start their buying campaign,
sure.
Or they needed to sell directly after buying, because you can't always rely on the banks now. It's not easy to get bridging loans.
Yes.
So sometimes need to sell assets to move forward. We would naturally then not engage in the sales process in the front line. That's the sales agent. That's, we'd engage and bring in, as though we're the vendor's, I guess, right hand. We'd speak on their behalf as their advocate, and we'd bring in the sales agents in the location that we think will be suitable, 2 or 3, do the appraisal process, manage, I guess, the relationship with the vendor with an unbiased opinion, and the sales agent does the heavy lifting in the front line, be the face, their brand, and speaking with the buyers and dealing with that process. So we don't get hands-on with buyers on both sides of the fence.
Yeah. And so, Michelle, are you involved? Because I've had a look at your profile, and we're going to go into that in a second.
Yeah.
I looked at that. It's amazing profile, both of you. I learnt a little bit about you, Mark, that I didn't know today when I was looking at your profile. Threw myself off there, but I looked at that. You're almost like a ninja. I just saw that in there, and I'm like, man, all this time I thought, oh, Mark, I'll just flick him aside.
No, look, I do love martial arts. I love Japanese culture and Japanese martial arts. So I sort of got, halfway to black formally in Aikido, but that's probably the, you know, other than boxing and things like that growing up. But I love the Aikido. I love the philosophy. I love the teacher. I was at Sakatsu Aikido in Pasco Vale, so hoping now out of this lockdown they get back up, because I guess it gave me great balance out of work. You know, real estate's a stressful job, and family and all the things you balance now, but it was just that place where you just focus on what you're doing at the time. It's like a movement meditation, good people, but it brought in a lot of Japanese philosophies and culture and the way to live and the codes of living. So yeah, that's the thing that drew me to it.
Now that I've announced that I'm scared of you, the rest of the interview is going to be very soft.
Yeah.
So tell me, Michelle, what's your role in the business at the moment? So it sounds like Mark is the advocate, but you also in the advocacy side, or do you blend your roles? Do you both work through the PM?
Predominantly, Mark does look after the advocacy side. So the buyer's advocacy, the vendor's advocacy, and I mainly focus on property management.
Yep.
However, having said that, so that's generally, you know, our roles within the business, but we still blend. So, you know, I'll still go out on the weekends and bid at auctions. You know, if there's a couple of buyers and, you know, the times there's 2 auctions on at the same time, Mark will go to one, I'll go to the other. So, and, you know, if I need assistance in property management, Mark will step in. I find, like, especially with the routine inspections.
Yes.
Mark's on the road a lot. So when he's on the road and there's a routine inspection that needs to be done, generally he'll do it. He's got a keen eye for maintenance. His eye's a bit better for those things. So yeah, I trust him when it comes to the routine. So yeah, we have our roles, but we also blend.
And maybe we'll just wrap up with the types of properties that you work with at the moment. Now, is it, Mark, am I understanding that you work with both investors and homeowners? Of course, when the market's more buoyant, there's more investors, but do you work with both, or do you work only with homeowners? How does that work?
Look, yeah, we work with both, definitely, right around Metro Melbourne, and you know, finally we were permitted during this period that we could get permits to work back in regional areas and travel out or coast. So as a family, we've managed to blend that around Victoria, even for whether it's investor or owner occupiers. We're traveling out Victoria wide. We made it part of the lifestyle as well. So if I knew we had to go out and investigate a property a bit further out, you know, we'd go and support an Airbnb and local businesses and take the kids out and experience a bit of local culture as well. But helping investors, I like the part about helping investors because it's very much more emotional based, subjective. You do a lot more discovery about what's important for them. And invest, you know, that's with the owner occupiers. It's, you know, you do discover a lot more about them personally and build a strong relationship. And investors as well over time, getting to their long-term goal. But it can be a bit more mathematical. Geographical areas are a bit broader, looking at the dollars, the growth and the returns. So yeah, we do deal with both though. But you know, I love aspects of both sides.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Mark and Michelle, but I spent about 3 years as an advocate.
I was aware.
So at that stage, but I drew the line with homeowners. I just found that process to be very difficult because, and I don't know, and we'll talk about this later throughout the meetings, but I found that process really difficult because from an investor's point of view, I felt that there was very different criteria. So you must find that as well, is that an investor's looking for return, as in the growth, capital growth, the yield, whereas a homeowner is I don't like where that window's positioned.
Yeah, you're right.
It faces into a lemon tree and I don't like lemons. You know, like, man, give me a break. How do you deal with that?
And that's setting. I do.
You're both smiling. You're both smiling. I think you're agreeing.
Go in with an expectation. I mean, things can change. Yeah, and look, and I go in. And when we speak with owner occupiers, you know, the expectation is going to be that the criteria could change. So I'll set boundaries there with, you know, I guess where the criteria changes drastically, then there might be a different fee level introduced or an engagement fee. If we have to start again, and you know, changes in price or changes in location or property style change drastically, then I'm happy to put the hours and work in, and our researcher you know, puts in a lot of due diligence with me and hours when we work together. And you know, Michelle, we bounce off different property types. So it does take longer. You know, average on an investor might take 1 to 3 months for success. Just nature of small geographical areas for homeowner occupier could take 6 months or more sometimes if the stock's not there and stock levels are low.
Yeah. Guys, we'll wrap up this session. Thank you very much. Where do we find you? Is it masteradvocates.com.au? Is that?
That's the one.
Yes.
Yeah, Master Advocates. It's been great. It's been great chatting with you both. We will find out a little bit more in the next episode. Thank you very much, Mark and Michelle. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks so much, Michael. Thanks for having us. Have a great day.